What's good, everybody? This is Board Figures, and you are looking at the Black Series Obi Wan Jedi Legend from the Kenobi series. And I wonder, could this possibly be the best Black Series Obi Wan figure to date? No, motherfucker! What the fuck? No, it's the damn Clone Wars one with the perfect Ewan McGregor likeness and the badass armor. I mean, that thing's sick. What do you mean? Everyone knows it. That's why it resells for damn near $100. Okay, I mean, fuck, come on, man. I'm just mad because I want the damn figure. That thing's so cool. But this, for now, this will have to do. And I think it's got a lot to offer. Honestly, I think this is a pretty fun figure with a lot of charm to it. And it's honestly not a figure I even knew was coming out. I knew about the Jabeam version. I knew about his Tibedaman Station one. I knew about the base issue one, which I actually have. I did not know about this Jedi Legends version until I walked into Walmart, found it, and was like, holy shit, this thing's dope. So I decided I wanted to talk a little bit about it today. I don't think there's all too much to say about Black Series figures as a whole. They're not all that different or complex from one another, but it is interesting to look at a figure of a character you know, you love, appreciate it, see how it compares to others, and that's what we're going to do today. Obviously, this figure comes from the Kenobi series, and I'm going to be straight up. I think it's pretty mid. It's a pretty mediocre show, and I know, gosh, I hate it. I know some people are like, oh my god, what do you mean? It's so good. It's Ewan McGregor's back. I get it. You know, I love me some Ewan. I do. He can McGreg me all day, but that series is just not it, man. And I hate to say that because in a lot of ways that puts me on the side of those wokeism crusaders who are so afraid of anything remotely woke or based that they will, you know, burn down the whole village to try and point out everything that Disney is doing and this or that. And in this rare instance, I agree on the fact that this show and a lot of the more recent Star Wars and Disney shows in general, Marvel, Star Wars, majority of them have been pretty mid. I will say the only exception for me is Andor. I think it was, you know, pretty great. Ahsoka, pretty mid. Obi Wan or Kenobi, whatever the fuck it's called, pretty mid. What else has come out? Pretty mid. The only other one, I think Mandalorian was pretty solid. And I think that the reason why Mandalorian and Andor were so good is because they're not trying to emulate or build off of something there before. They don't need these major names to be successful. I think Mandalorian's going down a dangerous route of incorporating itself too much with the overarching Star Wars story, but Kenobi ultimately just feels unnecessary. Like, I know they tried to shoehorn in a new arc for Obi-Wan. Oh, he can't use the Force anymore because he's stressed and he has to learn to let go and overcome, blah, blah. They had to engineer and create a new arc for him in order for the show to work. And to me, that just shows the show, it didn't need to exist in the first place, you know? And I say that as somebody who would have loved to see a great Kenobi series. I really would have. But I feel like they blew their load a little early with Rebels taking on the Darth Maul aspect, because the idea of Obi-Wan's arc being complete when he defeated Darth Maul not actually being complete because Darth Maul has lived on, I think there was something interesting there that really could have been really fun to explore a little bit more deep than what Rebels was willing to do. But that's not what we got. That's not what we could get. They're not going to rehash that, you know. Instead, we end up with another fight with Darth Vader or Anakin that sort of kind of does the same thing that the completion of his arc does when he meets Vader in A New Hope, but like less so. It's just like, I don't know. Like there's some things I like in it that are here and there. Ewan always brings his magic. Reva, I didn't really like her whole arc, but I did like the performance in some instances, like the interrogation scene with Leia was kind of fun. Even Child Leia, I kind of liked her as a Child Leia. It just didn't make any damn sense why they put her in this story, and it almost goes against some of the story of A New Hope. It just adds weird complication and extra information that takes away from the story. It doesn't add anything to it. It just kind of like makes it a little bit weirder. I don't know. It's a mid show. I have mixed feelings about it, but this figure, though, a little bit of a rant aside, this figure is honestly really fun, and I do like the idea of them taking what is apparently a look that he had in the mythos of Star Wars, the I don't know if it was the extended universe or it's, you know, there's so much at this point, but you know, this is like from a comic that was based off of, shoot, why am I blanking on the original Obi Wan actor's name? Oh gosh, this is killing me. What have I done? What have we done? Alec Guinness, fuck. Oh, I'm sorry. Alec Guinness, they like made a younger version of him that had this sort of costume that's somewhere in between his look in A New Hope and his look in Revenge of the Sith, and it kind of blends some of the elements into a pretty fun little look, you know, and it's fun that they threw that in at the end of the Kenobi. Does it make Kenobi good? No. Just because there's a fun fight between him and Vader that has some redeeming elements to it, I still don't think it's great. No, it doesn't make Kenobi better. The fact that Ewan McGregor is back, does that make it good? No, man. It's a fun idea. I love Star Wars, but it's just a mediocre story without too much to say within the world, without too much to say about the characters, and without too much to say for us, the viewer, something for us to take away from it and take home with us. It just doesn't do much. But again, the look is fun. I'm going to stop talking about the series now and focus on this figure. Obviously, he comes with a few accessories. That would probably be a good place to start with him. He comes with his lightsaber, which we have his hilt on his waist right here. Also has the actual blade itself. Obviously, he comes with the goggles around his neck. This sleeveless Jedi robe, which is it's fun. You know, that's a fun thing. It's a fun thing. Look, guys, you don't have to enjoy a show to appreciate a figure from it. I know, it's crazy, but there are plenty of figures on my shelf from movies and shows that I could give half a shit about. I don't care about Fortnite anymore, but I have so many of the Fortnite Victory Royale series figures because they're just fun, and this figure is fun. He also comes with this little toy. From what I understand, I'm gonna be honest, guys, I did not finish the series. I tried. I watched up to like maybe the last 2 episodes. I think I might have missed. Saw the clips of the big climactic moments, and that was all I needed to see. But apparently, he gives this toy to little Luke. I don't know if he gives it to him directly or if he gives it to his Uncle Owen, who gives it to him, or I don't really know. But that's a fun thing. It's like a mini 1/12 scale miniature diorama, 1/12 scale in 1/12 scale version of this ship. Don't ask me what the ship's called. I'm sorry. I don't know. There's so many names for these ships. I know it's shoot, I don't even want to say it's an Imperial ship. It may not be. I don't know, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun little accessory. All of that being said, I'm actually going to remove the goggles here because the thing that I love the most about this figure is the fact that it blends a lot of different looks of Obi-Wan into one, and I think that's fun. I think it's awesome. I think overall, the look of the figure is pretty great. The way they incorporate the Black Series articulation here is also pretty good. Obviously, you get the, we'll move the lightsaber out of the way. We get the single jointed elbows that do go up to 90, you know, a little bit past maybe. No, not really. Same thing with the knees. You know, that's enough for these figures, I think. They also do incorporate butterfly joints, which actually have a lot more movement than I would typically expect. And you can, all right, if we do this whole tunic is softer material. You can see it really hinders in the way of him actually bringing his arms together. But if you were to squeeze them, okay, I did this better earlier. I want to try and get it without the elbows bending as much because I think that's kind of the point. Okay, so we were to bring it together like so, and we were to put his lightsaber within there to hold it. It would probably stay pretty well, and it's not putting stress on the peg. As you can see, it's actually utilizing the butterfly joint. The main hindrance is this tunic. So theoretically, if you were to wedge the lightsaber within there or soften the material with heat before putting it in the pose, and then obviously it would stick in the pose after, you could actually get pretty great range with this articulation. He's got the ball at the waist, which actually gets significant movement all the way around, more than you would need in most cases. Ball joint at the top of the neck and the base of the neck, giving you all sorts of great characterized movement. Articulation is pretty solid. I think the Black Series line, for the most part, does a pretty good job with the articulation. It's not the most articulated. It's not trying to take it above and beyond. You're not getting super crazy crunchy arms and legs, but you are getting serviceable articulation that gives you a lot of character potential, which I think is the priority for the Black Series line, is that you are able to put character and life into the characters. Whereas for a line like Marvel Legends, it's all about dynamic action, and the figures kind of look shitty when they're not in action poses because of it. They suffer. But in the case of this, I think it does pretty well. The likeness to Ewan McGregor is by far the best in the line of Kenobi figures. A lot of the other ones look kind of weird. The Jabim one I think has the same sculpt, but I think the colors are a little bit better on this one. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's pretty great. From what I understand, it is all new sculpt. Even compared to the Jabim version, aside from the sleeves. The tunic is actually a different mold. The bottom half is a different mold. I don't have it here, but I've seen videos, and they are, you can observably tell they're different sculpts. Same thing for the legs. Obviously, they brought back his Jedi boots, which is really fun. And, you know, the tunic got a little longer, which is closer to the Alec Guinness look. And I almost said McGinnis. Man, I'm just blending their names together at this point. And the overall color is somewhere in between Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor in Revenge of the Sith. So I think overall the figure looks great, feels great, blends a lot of really fun elements together, and I enjoy it. For the sake of comparison, we're going to bring in the only other two Obi-Wan figures I have, because I am not lucky enough to own the Clone Wars version, which I fucking wish I was, man. That thing is so cool. So we've got the Revenge of the Sith version and the original first version of Obi-Wan from the Kenobi series wave. This is, I don't know what this one was called, I'm going to be honest. It's not the Tiburon Station one, but it's like the same mold, different color. And all in all, looking at these three, I think this one has the worst likeness to Ewan McGregor. Honestly, I think this one does. I think this one is a nice head sculpt. I like this head sculpt. It doesn't look like Ewan McGregor. I think this one actually does remind me of Ewan McGregor in Revenge of the Sith, but the problem is that his face is too narrow. Ewan McGregor has a rounder face. It comes to too much of a point, which I understand part of it is the way his facial hair was done in that movie. It was shaved on the sides and longer at the goatee. But this isn't just that. This is also the shape of the face. You know, you can see that by the width of the forehead compared to the width of the cheeks and the jaw. It just has much too angular of a face, and I think that's the main problem with this head sculpt that takes away from the likeness. And then we can bring this one in closer too. You can take a look. Good looking head sculpt, not Ewan McGregor. I'm sorry. It just looks like a generic white male, and I say that as a generic white male. So, and maybe another thing is I'm somewhat partial to this one, not only because it looks the most like Ewan McGregor, but it kind of looks like me. If you were ever wondering what I look like behind the camera, this is the closest you'll ever get to a face reveal. He's even got my white man forehead with the widow's peak. So if you ever wonder what I look like, Obi Wan Kenobi, baby, that's me. But overall, I think between these three figures, this one, as interesting as it is, I don't have any sort of affinity to this look. It has the right color blocking to feel more akin to what we associate him with. It's just not it for me. The head sculpt doesn't look enough like Ewan McGregor. This could be some general person in the background, but honestly, I'm probably going to get rid of this figure now that I have the Jedi Legends version and the Revenge of the Sith version. I'm still very partial to. I really enjoy the partial soft goods on the waistcoat, giving him additional movement. He does have double jointed legs, though they are pinned. He doesn't have any butterfly joints, very limited up here. But overall, the look is very iconic, and just for the sake of doing it, we're going to take off and remove the heads. This one can be hard to remove without taking the peg with it, and it did. So give me 2 seconds. We're going to heat this up, pop it apart, and be a little safe with it. Don't do what I'm doing, kids. It's going to be very hot on your fingers. I've worked in the kitchen most of my life. At this point, I can't feel much of my fingers to begin with. And it also helps to keep the object moving. That heated up, take him apart, feel a lot better. Dang, that's starting to get a little hot. Starting to get a little hot, kiddos. Hold it a little lower. There we go. Give my fingers a little relief before we swap them around. All right, let's see if that's cooled down enough. Cooled down? I mean hot it up. I do want to be careful. These pliers don't have any teeth on them, so that's nice, but they can leave an indent if I'm not careful. There's also some weird coloring on the back of his neck that I don't know where that came from. Maybe it's rubbed off paint from the neck. I'm going to wedge up inside like this. That way, if there's any damage I do to the neck, it's at the top where you'll never see it, and we got it off. Now I will grab on the actual, what's it called? Rod? I don't know. the cylindrical part of the peg and slowly wedge it out. You notice I wasn't yanking or pulling, just giving consistent pressure with the wedge until it pops out so you don't break anything. And now we've got the head. We can go ahead and bring back in the Revenge of the Sith body. And interesting thing about this is the peg, it is slightly smaller, but when you heat this up, because it is close enough, you heat this up, it will pop on. Okay, maybe not. Hey, there we go. Okay, and then you got to pull it back up a little bit because it does initially rest a little too low. We did some warpage to the face. He was starting to look a little long-faced just because of how it does broaden the face a little bit too, I think, because of how wide the peg is. But here you get a nice balanced look of what it looks like on the Revenge of the Sith body. And I honestly really like this. But I do prefer the upgraded articulation on the newer body. So I will be sticking with that. I'm probably still going to hold on to this Revenge of the Sith Obi Wan just because I'm partial to it, and maybe one day I can get a replacement head for it that will scratch that itch for me. But even still, even if it does, I feel like I'm going to develop an affinity for this look because it combines a lot of different looks and elements. I just put that in the wrong end. If she says that to you, you've already fucked up, okay? So don't let that be said. Consent is important, kids. All right, there we go. We got them all put back together. Is it just me or does his face still look a little warped? The heat definitely did a little bit of a number. Maybe I'm tripping. It doesn't look as bad in the camera. But yeah, I really enjoy the look of this figure. I think he comes with some fun accessories. The Black Series prices, just like any other Hasbro figure, is going up bit by bit. Before we know it, they will be $30 a piece consistently, not just for deluxe versions. But this figure is honestly pretty good. I don't really have much else to say about it. I think, you know, this video is probably going to be one of my shorter, more concise videos because this isn't a figure that I have a huge story behind other than rambling about the show that it's from. And I think there's nothing much else to do except to move on to size comparisons. So we'll get him pushed back a little bit, make a little room, and bring in some other figures to compare him alongside. First things first, we got to compare him alongside of several other figures from his own universe. So we've got his grand Padawan, the Padawan of his Padawan, Ahsoka. And then might as well bring in his actual Padawan. This is going to be Anakin Darth Vader. This is the Empire Strikes Back version from the Black Series. This is my current Darth Vader, but may not be for long. Then we've got my own Kit Bash Luke Skywalker. And of course his sister, Princess Leia. Frame things up a little better. Then we'll bring in another fellow Jedi from his order. This is going to be Aayla Secura. And finally, what was his master or wasn't his master or is his master or is everyone's master, Yoda. And we can go ahead and get all of those out of there. Next, we'll bring in a handful of miscellaneous figures. We'll start with the Valorverse. What's his name? Trigger, I think his name is. Another red-bearded man. Next, we've got the Fortnite Victory Royale series Jules. Probably one of my favorite figures. I really enjoy that figure. Then we've got the arch rival to Valorverse, the G.I. Joe Outback. This is going to be the Tiger Force variant. Damn, his ankles don't want to cooperate. Let's get that right. And lastly, we'll bring in the Jada Toys Ryu from Street Fighter 2. And we can get those out of there. Sorry if this pose changed or something. I was finishing the rounds of size comparisons and realized my camera has stopped recording. So we're going to continue where we left off and bring in another master, much like Obi Wan. This is going to be Kakashi Sensei from SH Figuarts. Next, we'll bring in the Marvel Legends Namor. Then we've got the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Finster, which is a really fun figure. And lastly, we've got my Mezco Toys Frankenstein, aka Frankie. And we can get those guys out of there. And we're gonna go ahead and round out the size comparisons there. I'm gonna bring in my original character, work in progress, Laos. And if you're interested in the 1/12 scale joints for your figures, I do sell a 4-pack of them with various different degrees of being burned, smoke, whatever. And I sell them in a 4-pack on my eBay store. Little plug for you guys. I sculpt them, 3D print them, and paint them myself. I mean, if you're at all interested, they're really fun for your figures. And lastly, we'll bring in the figure from my last video, the 1000 Toys Jutsu Inui. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how I forgot to do this comparison, but obviously we gotta put our boy alongside his greatest nemesis, Darth Maul. And I just realized I didn't have the couch in the background for the majority of the video, but don't you worry, I remembered it. It's here for the ending. Unfortunately, Obi-Wan's thick-ass tunic makes it near impossible to get him to sit properly in the couch. This is the best I've gotten. This was even with heating it up to soften it a bit. So he's going to be sitting on the couch with his legs kicking in the air like a toddler. Hey, it's a good figure, but oh goodness. And before we do round it off, I did have one last thing I wanted to show because I just thought it was fun and interesting, and those of you who stuck around to the end got a chance to see this. But I did want to compare all of the lightsabers that I have from the 3 Obi-Wan figures in my collection. And here's the third one right here. I was missing the hilt. You can see between the 3 of them that they all have different colors. You know, this one is more silver, this one's a little bit more worn and gunmetal, this one's got black. I think between these 2, they have the exact same sculpt, just with different colors. And this one was an older sculpt that has since been updated into these. And though this color maybe is more true to the original, I don't know. I kind of prefer these 2. And I think even between these 2, it's really hard. You know, like I do like the black, but I really like this kind of like gunmetal-ish color that comes with the other Obi-Wan, who's, again, I don't remember what that one was called. So I think this one is my favorite, and it also has a, you can see, a slightly more vibrant or like a colorful blue. It's very slight. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up, but this one does seem to be, and it could be that they were cast in the same plastic and it's just like a, you know, some of the color was out in the last injection or something. I don't know. It's mostly the same. Even still, I still prefer this hilt. I think it's the coolest one. The black is still really cool though. But I prefer both of these over the original. It's just a cool upgrade, you know? Why not build on the characters you like aesthetically? Nostalgia doesn't always have to be everything. And if these companies understood that, then maybe we wouldn't get these half-assed stories. They show him! They show him! Anyways, guys, that's all I've got for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my Instagram. I post pics like these, and check out another video where I grab a random figure to talk about or some shit. I don't know. Bye, y'all.